Good evening, friends. It's a little after 6 o'clock. It's Monday evening, November 10th. This is our regularly scheduled Urban Renewal Agency meeting for the City of Caldwell. We will ask our secretary to call the roll.
Commissioner Porter?
Here.
Commissioner Brooks?
Here.
Commissioner Warwick?
Here.
Commissioner Doty?
Here.
Commissioner Moore?
Here.
Commissioner Allgood?
Here.
Commissioner Cole?
Here.
Very good. As always, is there a conflict of interest with any of the commissioners in regard to anything that's on our minutes tonight, or our agenda, excuse me? Seeing none, we'll move on to public comments. Are there any members of the public that want to address the commission on any items not listed on our agenda? Okay. Very good. Not seeing any. Brings us to our consent calendar. Do we have a motion in regards to the consent calendar?
Mr. Chairman, I had emailed the clerk earlier this morning. The minutes had me voting on 2 different items, and I was not here, so I'd informed her that, so I don't know if an email went out to correct them or not, but
So the minutes from the October meeting?
yes.
Okay. I will correct those and then we'll bring them back for, I'm the one who did those minutes.
Okay.
So I will, my mistake.
Yeah, the first part had me absent, but then there were the last 2 items, I think, had me voting.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Okay. Yep.
We'll entertain a motion based on those corrections.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Doty?
let's approve the consent calendar with any corrections that were mentioned.
Thank you, Mr. Doty. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Warwick. Any further discussion? Would the secretary call the roll?
Commissioner Doty?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Allgood?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
And just a clarification, we're approving these as corrected, correct? Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Brings us to our first update report from our RC contractors, Mr. Cooper. I'm not seeing Mr. Cooper here this evening. Is Derek Cooper online,
Perhaps.
waiting to get in? Okay, very good. We'll come back to him. Our second update report would be from TS Developments, and Tom is here tonight. How are you, Tom?
Good, how are you?
Very good, thanks. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Yes, we're moving along with the project. We have the drawings all finished and the budget almost prepared. We're just waiting for that study on the canal, which I assume is slowed down due to the government shutdown. So that's about the only thing we have out that's pending. So then we should be able to get started with the submit. I think we're trying to submit at the end of toward the end of this month for a permit.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Bevins? Very good. Thank you, Tom, for being
Thanks
here.
very much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Our next update report will come from Shane from Base Layer LLC and Project or District 26. Hello, Shane. How are you tonight?
Good evening. I'm
evening.
just fine. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for allowing me to attend the meeting tonight. Wish I could be there in person. I'd like to just give you a few updates. First of all, we're working through a vacation application with Planning and Zoning that we've submitted on behalf of the project for the Green Road area that kind of sits directly behind the Maverick gas station right there. Would be one of our direct access points. So we're working through that process. We've also recently updated our marketing material and positioning in the market for the overall project. And we've just refreshed all that. We'll be getting this out to the market. Well, actually it is out to the market now, but we'll be splashing it out to the market a little bit more aggressively here in the next week or so. Other than that, just generally in the market, things have been somewhat slower for these larger parcels, and where we're positioning ourselves is kind of larger end users, what we'd really like to attract, or a larger developer that would like to come in and, potentially take us out of our position. So that's where we're at today.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Shane. Any questions for Mr. Jimenez? Mr. Moore?
Mr. Chairman, Shane, thanks for coming tonight. Boy, that Maverick sign sure caught my eye Saturday afternoon when I looked over across from the freeway coming from Caldwell. Hadn't even got to the off-ramp yet, and you can see that plain as day, so what a big sign. Hey, I noticed some fertilizer, looks like it's being spread out there, and it looks like the ground's being charged. Is that in anticipation of more crops out there next year, or is it done? What's the forecast for that ground?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll have to check with Satya on the fertilizer question. I don't have a good answer for you on that. However, I think our intention is to not farm that land next year. The land leases annually and it expired at the end of the farming season this year. So as far as I know, and I can certainly visit with the rest of the partners, but we shouldn't have any intention to farm going forward.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was fertilizer or just landfill, but anyway, thanks and good luck out there.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll keep you abreast of any changes and hopefully good news to come.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for Shane tonight? Very good. Thank you, Shane. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Of course. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Our next update report is from 7th and Main. Dean, welcome.
Is this on? Oh, always a pleasure to join you guys. Sorry I have to be here in person this time, but I appreciate the opportunity to come down and speak face-to-face, answer any questions. Again, no real progress in regards to phase 2 of the project. Really hoping to get some insight tonight on, is there any move in direction for the adjoining parcels for a larger development? We continue conversations with hotel operators, hotel developers that are interested. One that is local, that is building right now. But until such time as we know that the other parcels can be adjoined with our phase 2, we remain in a holding pattern. With that said, we do have a time commitment to get started here in the next year. So if no direction is found here in short order, we'll have to move forward in another direction for developing phase 2. So looking forward to continued conversations after Mr. Hilty steps up and has a little more information to talk about. But if there's any questions about the existing phase 2 or phase 1 that's in, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you, Dean. Any questions for Dean at this point? I'm not seeing any questions.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dean. Our next update is from Carrie from Wolfpack Development. Is she online? Okay. All right, thank you. And the next would be from Diana from the fair. Good evening. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. I've had, I think, 2 meetings since I was here last. I met with the rodeo and the college. We reviewed the project. We looked at it all together. They both remain supportive. And then last week I met with Roger Brooks, since he's including the Caldwell Events Center in that area in his recommendations for the city. We wanted to make sure this project didn't conflict with anything that he has or is planning to recommend, and he's including it so far in his recommendations. So I'm not sure when he's presenting those, but I wanted to make sure that it aligned with what he was presenting. And then pending approval, we would want to get started as soon as we can. I know that will depend a little bit on the event schedule for all of the Caldwell Events Center, but the goal would be to get the dirt work done probably, depending on weather, February, March of next year, with grass established before the fair. So we have grass for fair, rodeo, and college parking.
Very good. Thank you. Questions for Diana? Thanks. That's a progress report.
Yes.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our final update would be from Pontifex Capital, and I'm not seeing Lee tonight, so any report on that?
Chairman, Commissioners, I know on the last face you want to see right now regarding Lee's project, but he did email me an update, and I forwarded it off before the meeting. I apologize if it didn't reach you. But ultimately, it's brief. He just says, with our approval, we are taking the project back out to bid. We do not have an anticipated start date yet. So yeah, short and sweet, but I just want to pass that along as he is still working on the logistics of his project currently.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
This brings us to our first item of new business. It's to consider the resolution authorizing a change order from ArchNexus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening, Commissioners. This is an item that I've been talking about for some time with RRC. The project, of course, is going up over there on the corner of Blaine and Kimball, but they've been outside the parameters of their schedule for quite some time, and we've talked about that, and the reasons for that are set forth in the recitals on the proposed addendum to, or amendment to add the new construction schedule. There was problems with the geotech part of it. There were problems with adjoining work on electrical power in the alleyway. And then for a time, there was uncertainty about the extent to which the rebuilding of the Indian Creek Bridge might interfere with them. And so I think we got that past us now. You did have handed out to you when you came in a modified construction schedule that actually, if this is approved, we would replace that with what was in your packet. The other thing that might be good to get some feedback on now or at another time is there's a memorandum that Jim, I think, worked on some time ago to try to help put in context where we're at with, you know, when we come forward seeking amendments to DDAs. What has the history been? What has brought us here? Has it been amended before? And so I kind of scratched that out. Hopefully you could read my writing. But probably we'll start doing that as we propose amendments, and so there's a little bit more background. But this one is one I think that you are all very familiar with. We just need to get this amended so that the project can get back under, you'll have the contract that comports with the reality of the world out there. The good news is they're going to be done, they're planning to be done sometime in February with the project. At least it'll have, you know, as I understand it, commercial shells ready for tenants to come in and do tenant improvements. With that, I'd stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Any questions on this modification? Okay, do we have a motion in regard to the resolution?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Allgood?
I would move that we accept the amendment as presented.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Allgood
Second.
and a second by Ms. Warwick. Any other discussion? Would the secretary call the roll?
Commissioner Allgood?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick? Yes. Commissioner Doty?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Very good, thank you. We have Carrie on the line now with her developer report from Wolfpack Development. Carrie, are you with us?
Thank you. It looks like you guys are fast today. I'm sorry about that. Well, I'm happy for you guys, but sorry I'm late.
No worries.
The only update that I have this evening is that the construction on the open space at next to Happy Teriyaki is near complete. They are working on finished work, and we hope to have a nearly finished site ready for people as Winter Wonderland is getting started. So it was permitted as a special events place, so might see a few like pop-up stuff happening there, and so we're really excited to get that activated. And then we are working on some plans to meet the timeline of the grass lot, and we'll just share an updated like construction status of that in the coming near future. But for now, that's all the updates that I have, and I would stand for questions.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. Any questions for Carrie? Mr.
No
Allgood?
questions, but that's great news. I'm glad to see that you guys are hopefully going to get something going, and we'll be down there for Winter Wonderland.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, Carrie, you're free to go.
All right, have a great evening.
You too, Carrie.
Bye.
This brings us to our first item of new business. Now it's time to consider a resolution authorizing a change order with ArchNexus. Hello, Raylene.
Good evening, Commissioners. So that first item is a change order and then the approval of that invoice, if you guys decide to do that. Essentially, due to that additional extra meeting that was requested right at the end, they did go over on their $5,000 reimbursable by that $1,400. And so I did let them know that they could send us the information, but it would be up to the Commissioners if it was to approve. With our original contract, the $5,000 was the max not to exceed. And so this is the additional amount, but I wanted to bring it up to you guys if you wanted to approve it or not.
Very good, thank you, Raylene. Mr. Cole.
Yeah, so this additional item, the cost, that was for the meeting last Friday we had then?
No, it was for a community outreach meeting that they had to, they had flights booked, and then there was an additional meeting requested, and so they had to actually bring in additional personnel with additional flights. So,
Mr. Allgood?
Yeah, I don't remember who requested the additional meeting. How did that occur that they had to come back on an unplanned meeting?
I believe it's the meeting that, so they had it scheduled, and then the date changed due to some forums for the elected officials. I'm not quite sure.
Because
But I
of
believe
the-
that one.
Yes, okay.
That was it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Arlene.
So, to come clean, we caused this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Okay, do we have a motion in regard to this resolution?
What
Mr.
is
Chair,
our individual share of that cost?
well, there are seven,
I withdraw that.
$200 apiece, Tom. I move that we authorize the change order to Arch Nexus in the amount of $1407.49.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Warwick. We have a second.
Second?
A second by Mr. Doty. Any other questions? Would the secretary call the roll?
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Commissioner Doty?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Allgood?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you, Raylene. Brings us to our next action item. It's to consider invoices for payment.
So we just have 3 invoices tonight. $17,812.75 for the November economic development contributions, $12,891.66 for the November admin fees, and $6,800 for the October attorney services, which I will just make a point that Mark pointed out to me. That is not the invoice we received. It's a little bit less because their contracted renew in October, so you will see next time that additional amount. So I just want to bring that up. So for a total of $37,504.41.
Okay, Mr. Allgood?
Yeah, Raylene, I'm not complaining, but why did economic development costs go down?
So they went down due to the time allocation. So we took the time that Stephen and Ophelia were working and put that on the new position of the economic, or the executive director that was just hopefully soon to be hired. And so then the hope is the city will pay more of like the specialist position and the director position, and then only pay, the urban renewal will only pay for the executive director of urban renewal position, because there's
Okay.
now 3, so,
It went up, but in a different place.
yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Doty?
Just one clarifying question. So is it 6,800 for last month, and then that will change for Mr. Hilty?
That'll
I guess
come.
in the next meeting will reflect this month. Is that what
That
you're
is
saying?
correct. So, yes, so the difference between the 6,800 and the actual October billing will be reflected in next month's.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Moore?
Mr. Chairman, Raylene, tell me what 12,891.66, what does that break down to? What's that? I mean, it's been a while since I've memorized.
So that covers quite a bit. So a lot of the city overhead that, you know, where a lot of the work I do, a lot of the work that Rob does for urban renewal, Haley does for urban renewal, all of those staff hours within engineering. And so a lot of that work that urban renewal could outsource and pay a consultant for, but currently is paying the city for instead.
Gotcha. So with the anticipation of a URA project manager position, does that number go down, go away, or is it?
So I think during budget discussions next year, when we relook at like the estimated hours that everybody will be doing, I anticipate some of my hours would definitely go down, and so that admin fee would decrease.
Gotcha,
So,
okay, yeah. Okay, thank you for explaining that.
yeah.
Ms. Warwick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this 37,000 roughly is is just going to be a regular expense to us month after month.
That's
How
correct.
long can we do that?
So based off of the current budget, it does cover it. It does dip into that fund balance though. How long? It depends on how the, east or the north area, and this, you know, the north area picks up in the next couple years, but right now, the projected revenue for the north area is $157,000 for this next year, so definitely, and not all of that admin fee is coming out of the north area increment, so,
Okay, all right. It's just, it went up a lot from what we're used to seeing there.
yes, yes.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion in regard to payment for these invoices? Mr. Doty?
I'll make the motion that we pay them.
Very good.
Second.
Pay. And a second on payment. Would the secretary call the roll?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Me?
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Doty?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Ogden?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Okay, this brings us to our treasurer report and the monthly cash reconciliation.
So as you can see, I have both 25 and 26. So 2025 has been officially closed out. You can see within the total cash that we ended up with just 3.5 million within the different buckets. So that includes the operating bucket, the north area, or excuse me, not the north, yeah, the north area, the LGIP, which is where it's kind of invested in the state funds, and then any surety bonds that we're holding on to, which is really reserved cash, because if the developer, you know, goes along with their agreement, then we give those funds back. So you can see the east area increment is at 0. There is no east increment back, so like, this is always the discussion, how are we paying for the east area projects that are still remaining on the project list? Those are coming out of the operating account, so there's not any funds left over to get back to taxing districts or anything like that. In 2026, we still do receive some past dues, so you can see the tax increment that we did receive for October was some past dues of $1,130 for the east area. There's still some open projects that will get applied to first before we dip into the operating. So those balances in 2026, you can see we are slowly going to be spending down the cash balance of the operating account. Total cash between the Banner Bank and LGIP is just over 3.5 million. And I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Raylene. Any questions? Mr. Moore?
Mr. Chairman, Raylene, do you see any type of issues or hiccups or anything in the future here with the way this is trending?
I think it depends on what projects are gonna be approved going forward. Obviously, we know that like in the north area, there's a lot of projects brewing, as well as like we have 2 TIF requests right now, so those are current obligations. I don't have what those amounts are gonna be for this next year. But those are still gonna be payments that are gonna be made out of that north area increment as well. So I think it just depends on what projects come before urban renewal that get approved, so.
So with that, your recommendation is to kind of monitor and be very careful with what we're doing here going forward here in the next 10 months?
I think it's kind of like, what comes first, the cart or the horse? Like, it's kind of both. You have to have development for the increment to go up, to grow the revenues. And so what we want to do is spur development in the north area, inside A, inside B, so that those revenues will increase, that then we can do more projects. It's kind of this repetition thing. And so that's why I think we're still looking at what can we do financing wise to help spur development a little bit faster than what's happening right now. Meaning, you know, can we do an LID that then urban renewal can still make those special assessment payments on?
Right.
Because we're not quite ready to bond. I would say we're ready to bond when our increment in the north area is probably higher than 500, 600,000 on a regular basis every single year.
Yeah.
So,
Last question, that ending balance there, 10/31/25, 2.679 million, that interest payment there, are you comfortable with that interest rate you're getting? 'Cause I
in
know
the money
you've talked
market,
about
in
it.
the banner, it's definitely dropped. It used to be 2%, and I think it's 1.25, 1.5, something like that. Am I comfortable with it? It's really low compared to our current interest rates. Do I think that we need the liquidity, that how fast we sometimes spend money on projects? Yes, and so I think that's gonna be the best place for that. LGIP takes still 24 to 48 hours to transfer into our funding, so it's still very liquid, but we're getting closer to 4.5% on that, so I feel very comfortable on that interest rate.
Wow, yeah.
So,
Okay, thank you.
welcome.
Mr. Allgood.
Yeah, Raylan, just, so the Maverick increment, will that hit in January? When will when will we start seeing that reflected?
No, it won't hit in January because when we levied the taxes this year, it was still undeveloped parcels, essentially. And so they're going to pay, based off the tax assessment, what it was at that point in time. I could ask the county to get that information if you'd like to see it. I haven't pulled that report from them yet. But hopefully their certificate of occupancy gets issued before December 31st, so it'll be on next year's tax roll, and we'll see that benefit in next year, in next January. But
When you say next January, you're at 26 or 27?
27, January
27.
27. I think there's a timing issue sometimes, and sometimes there's a period of look back. I just don't know that timing issue, and I would have to talk to the assessor at the county to see when they do that look back period of whether they're going to assess it or not, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion for approval of the monthly cash reconciliation?
I move that we approve it as presented.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Allgood
Second.
and a second by Mr. Cole. Would the secretary call the roll?
Commissioner Allgood?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Porter?
Yes.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes.
Commissioner Warwick?
Yes.
Commissioner Doty?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to our project list update.
So this is after all the invoices that you guys approved last year or last month, and so, as you can see, these are definitely coming down. All of them are in process right now. They're currently being worked on with the underground power in downtown. You know, you heard from TS Development that they're waiting on, you know, some federal official, and so once that's done, we'll be able to help them with the utility vacationing over there, and then the county in that process. I think the goal is to have all of these projects cleared out by September 30th of 2026. That's kind of the deadline I'm looking for. It's been 3 years, so that is kind of the goal. So.
Thank you, Raylene. Any questions in regard to the project list? Not seeing any. Thank you, Raylene. Okay, brings us to our economic development reports, and our first up is Mr. Jenkins.
All right, Chair, Commissioners, good evening, and I will get started as I typically do in the north area, just give you a quick update on what's happening in urban renewal. We have Project Cabbage Patch. This is a group I've been working with for a couple months now. They're a large acreage user that continues to investigate the area. They're seeking a site that can accommodate future manufacturing operations, which is a big deal for us. Manufacturing jobs are typically higher paying, and they're also higher skill That's what we want to see. So we call it high school, high wage and economic development. And that's something we're trying to draw into the community much more of rather than logistics or warehousing, for example. But this will be among one of those groups coming in, and they're highly interested in Caldwell. So I'm really excited to continue the conversation with this group. Project Broken Arrow, they're continuing, they're coming to terms with the property owner on land within the district, hopeful to continue discussions regarding an entertainment-based project at that location. An economic impact analysis will be conducted soon to evaluate the overall project. So that's moving well as well. Project Wolf, this is a very large acreage project that would be one of the biggest developments in the Treasure Valley. This group has expressed some strong interest in Caldwell, particularly in this region. And they are currently facing some challenges with power demands, and I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly, but are open to a phased approach to secure the necessary capacity as the project ramps up. And then Maverick, I know we talked about that. I've been working with their team. The store is scheduled to open during the second week of December. So my hope is that their certificate of occupancy will arrive before December 31st there. So it's great news for the district. I do believe they'll make that timeline. So that's really good news for tax purposes and whatnot as well. And also for the area, just to create some new momentum in the district. So overall, manufacturing activity is gradually increasing across the U.S. We've received a bunch of recent RFIs, or requests for informations, from various entities that represent the state. BVAP is one, Boise Valley Economic Partnerships. They're a regional economic development agency that we work closely with, as well as the state of Idaho. So that uptick has been promising. Ophelia has done a really good job just submitting information on those inquiries of late, and again, they've been plentiful. And they get larger and larger, and that's really good to see. We're well positioned as far as attracting different groups. One thing that I took note of, I recently had a conversation with a site selector, and she indicated to me that having a foreign trade zone is critically important in this day and age, with the rising costs related to tariffs and other fees tied to different projects. Just cost increases across the board, but having a foreign trade zone, which we do have in Caldwell, is a huge benefit. So kudos to my predecessor, Steve Foltz, for getting that launched for Caldwell years ago. And then, of course, favorable zoning. We've already done that through our comprehensive plan for the area. That's helped tremendously to at least solidify the details related to a future industrial project. Another factor is natural gas and power, and we talked a little bit about that, but we continue to work closely with Idaho Power and Intermountain Gas just to work on a long-range plan for the area. So August inflation rate, just additional updates. The August inflation rate is 3.1%. Idaho's unemployment rate is 3.7%. The national average is 4.3%. And just moving on real quickly, and I put some graphics in here so you guys can get a good feel overall of the market. So this one has to do with adult literacy, and I put this on here because it indicates an element of our educational systems here. That's important for attracting different groups. I was just in another state, and they were talking about the prominence of their school district locally and how important that is. So our literacy rate is quite high comparatively as you look at the United States as a whole. So I find that to be helpful in articulating how our education system operates here locally. The other one is share of people born in the state who are living there as of 2021. This is one that refers to retaining talent in the state. So making sure that obviously we have enough jobs to support upcoming students that are graduating and whatnot, making sure that they stay in the state. You guys can see that Idaho, we do see a little bit of a drift. So shoring that gap up, working with our educational partners such as College of Idaho, CWI, and others is going to be important, Boise State as well, moving forward. Measuring growth across the U.S., I'll look at the second part of this graph here. You guys can see a rise in the real GDP, a rise in the number of employees. Inflation has risen, and this is year over year from October of 24 to October of 25. And then wages have grown by 2.38%, which is a really good sign as well. I also put, related to GDP, soybeans are America's largest agricultural export. We grow very little soybeans in Idaho, just FYI. Our number one commodity is technically dairy, milk products in Idaho is $3.5 billion. Number two is actually beef products and cattle. And then number 5 is wheat. So you guys can see wheat, and it's closer to the bottom of that list. But we do we do pull our weight as far as agricultural products nationwide. So you guys can see that our numbers are quite robust, although we don't have the largest commodity, which are soybeans. And then this one's electricity. And why this is important is because right on this chart, we pay the second least in the nation, according to what's represented here. And that's important because a lot of these users coming in, data centers and otherwise, they draw a lot of power. and they look at those costs tied to their operations overall. So when we can tout that we have, attractive power rates in Idaho, it certainly helps our cause to be able to attract different groups into the market. And then lastly, this is a portion of 23 to 30-year-olds living with a parent. Again, this shows the affordability, if you will, and how affordable are we in our market? Are we allowing for more affordable housing units to come into the market? Is that something that we need to address? This chart is something that I think is a pretty good indication of that, but we're doing pretty well. The top 5 states are New Jersey, Connecticut, California, Maryland, New Hampshire. Those are very expensive states to live in. We're not on the bottom 5 states, but we're certainly not among the top states there as far as affordability challenges. So although we do have some challenges with affordability, we're certainly not the worst. So want to provide that as a little bit of insight as I conclude my report, but I'm happy to stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Stephen. Any questions tonight for Steve? Mr. Moore?
Mr. Chairman, Stephen, thanks for coming tonight. In your travels, are you seeing any type of concerns or positive or negative with the recent city council changes and economic growth doing business in Caldwell?
Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for that question. Really what I've been hearing is more broad-based information. Folks that I've talked to that are in the industrial sector trying to locate businesses in our market are concerned mostly about infrastructure. So power and honestly water. Water is not a big issue for us here in Caldwell and in Idaho as a whole, but so that's a benefit for us. But yeah, most of the concerns or the challenges that I've heard are related to more broad-based inquiries, more so than local.
You know, any discussions about any future economic growth with the mention of a moratorium as suggested or compared to Middleton, that kind of thing? Have you heard anything about that?
Chairman, Commissioner Moore, I have not heard anything specific. What I will say is that just making sure that our market remains strong and robust. We have a local ecosystem here. Everything flows throughout the city of Caldwell. That's an important thing that we keep our eye on, just making sure that money is flowing properly in the community. So, we certainly want to do what we can to keep the engine rolling. Caldwell's have great momentum and great growth, and trying to grow the right way is really key. In working with our finance director, Ms. North, we talked about the split of commercial and residential and where are we at with that. Most recently, we analyzed the city on a more of a deep dive, and we're right about like 65-35, which is a good basis for the health of our local economy. I think a 60-40 split, somewhere in there, is something that is certainly achievable and somewhere where we want to be in the future. But we just look at all aspects of the economy and try to shore up the holes or the gaps that we have to make sure that we're whole.
Yeah. So to go along with your examples here and some of your extra information that you're giving us, any word or any complaint, any concern from any retail business or large commercial business on tariffs, any type of inflationary labor? Do you hear anything like that in your travel?
Yeah, the big thing that I've heard time and time again are just the costs everywhere are going up. So in an area that has a census tract like we have, we have a big portion of the census tract in Caldwell. That is a trigger for new market tax credits. So if you have an investment of $5 million and you are going to create jobs for the low and moderate income individuals, and you also have less than 80% of your project, no more than 80% of your project can be related to residential development. So it's one of those where new market tax credits are a big draw and an attraction to Caldwell and other areas of the United States. Foreign trade zone, as I mentioned, is key. Getting our utility partners involved early is really essential. Making sure that they're aware of what project is coming so we can get ahead of it infrastructure-wise. But that's the biggest concern that I've heard about. The tariffs, folks are starting to get, they're starting to digest what that looks like and put that into their pro formas for development. But if we have those other incentive opportunities that we can provide or other areas that we can assist, that certainly helps.
Well, thank you for those updates. Congratulations on your Idaho Business Review recognition.
Yeah, thank you so much. I so appreciate that.
What was the actual title of that nomination or that award? Economic Development Director.
I was going to say something funny and say something related to Nobel Peace Prize, but I'll be honest here. It's the Idaho Business Review, 500 most influential people in Idaho. I don't know how I made the list, but I appreciate your congratulations on that and the support that I've received from this governing body here.
Yeah, well, good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Stephen, just remember that does not make you more marketable. Don't be thinking of
Right,
big
there
money
you go.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Duly noted.
Stephen,
Steve, we have another question. Ms. Warwick.
Trying to run.
I see that. I kind of remember back when we implemented that foreign trade zone, back when Mayor Nancolos was around, and I remember it was really important. It's a little hazy about how that benefits us, and if anybody's watching online, it's probably something they're not familiar with either. Can you run that by us?
Yeah, so great question, Chairman, Commissioner Warwick. Ultimately, a foreign trade zone is an area outside of U.S. Customs. So here in Caldwell, if you import or export product more frequently, it can be an advantage if you're tied to the program. So essentially, it's fulfilled through the United States government. We have a contact there. If a company expresses interest, we take that company through the process of approval. It takes about 120 days in total, but ultimately what that allows you to do is bring a product into the foreign trade zone and not have to pay duty or tariffs up front. So ultimately, it's duty deferral. You only pay duty on what leaves the facility. So typically, you don't pay duty on waste of a product. So if you manipulate the product, it comes in, as it looks one way and then it leaves the facility another way. You only pay on what actually leaves the facility. So that's an advantage for some that are trying to, but don't pay on waste, so they eliminate costs there. But also if they do a lot of exporting back internationally. So for example, if you get a product from Ukraine and you send it back to somewhere in Europe or some other place across the seas there, you won't, in some cases, you won't pay any duty at all because it didn't touch the United States soil. So that's something that is a real advantage to folks that do quite a bit of importing and exporting.
So are there any businesses taking advantage of that currently?
We have one that is, well, let me retract that real quick, but we had one that was going through the process to get approved. Unfortunately, they had some hiccups operationally and trying to pick up the pieces there, but I do believe that they'll get back in line with that. They do a lot of European exporting and importing, so they feel like it's a great advantage. But I have had quite a few inquiries related to that, believe it or not, especially from Canadian companies that are just across our border.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Ophelia.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. My report will be brief. So I'm going to go ahead and start with URA Downtown Properties, which is our Site A. We've had a couple visits with a lot of interest. A lot of people are looking for office space now. We do have a visit next week with a restaurant group. I will say we are on schedule. I think last time Stephen spoke to your question regarding when the RFP was going to go out. We're still on schedule. I think we shared, or Stephen shared during that time that would be either in the spring or summer, so we're still on schedule for that. Moving on to general downtown updates, NARA is opening up this week. I don't have a date for you yet, so we've just been texting back and forth this morning, so keep an eye out for that and support them. They've put a lot of work in their space, and we're super excited for them, and they hope to continue making investments in our downtown. They feel like this is the town that that they want to be in, so I'm happy that they chose Caldwell. I've continued my conversations with Roger Brooks and others. We recently met last week, and again, we're meeting with individuals in our community or with other folks that may have an interest in opening up a business here in our community, so that's been exciting. And just to end on a great highlight, Winter Wonderland is November 21st through the 23rd from 6 to 9 p.m. So hope to see you all there, but I'll stand for any questions.
Thanks, Ophelia. Mr. Allgood.
Yeah, Ophelia. We seem to be doing good on expansion. We have a lot of interest, industrial coming in. How are we doing on our infill? Are we keeping our spaces occupied? Are we having too much turnover? Can you give me, what we have existing here? Are we staying full?
We have had some turnover, specifically in one space in the downtown, and the feedback that they gave me, the end users, was a couple reasons. There's a lot of activity that happens during the plaza when it is programmed, so they do see a lot of traffic coming through. But when that's not programmed, it tends to have a little less traffic for them, so that was the reason why one of the businesses vacated that space. Another reason that I've been told is, unfortunately, I can't disclose why, but it's not that they don't want to be in Caldwell. Sometimes it's just due to those things like traffic and what have you on the plaza. So if they've mentioned that before. And then in terms of what we have available, we do have a little bit available. Where we're lacking right now is just in that office space. So recently, last week, I met with a business. In those spaces, they would prefer right now to purchase rather than lease also. So trying to come up with those spaces that are available for purchase has been a challenge. We do have one space that's roughly about 14 acres right next to the West Valley Surgery Center and St. Alphonsus, right around that area. So that was one of the sites that I was able to send over. A lot of the times those sites have to make sense as well in terms of where they want to go. The real hot spot for some recently has really been that Sky Ranch Business Park because of a lot of that activity. And this specific end user, we did show them the downtown area. However, they wanted to be inside that industrial park for several reasons. There's a lot of schools that are also around there, so just their customer base, what they wanted as customers was really tapping into some of the schools, some of the parents that work around that area.
Kind of speaking of that area, any discussion on movement with the Old Magic Recipe restaurant?
No, I had a conversation with the owner, it's been a few years now, and what he relayed to me at that time, this was a few years back, that he was just going to wait till the market was a little bit better in terms of the workforce, for him to be able to tap into that available workforce, and that was the last conversation I had with him. And he's part of a larger group of restaurants. He's part of that family. That's a larger group of restaurants. So just crossing my fingers that one day he'll either sell or open up a new breakfast eatery.
It just drives me crazy that it sits there empty for so long.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions for Ophelia? Mr. Moore?
Mr. Chairman, Ophelia, thanks for coming tonight. Ask you just a couple of the questions I asked Stephen. So any concerns with council change, city council changes, any economic concerns, any concerns about future growth, positive or negative?
Yeah, I think a lot of those answers to your question, I've just kind of seen them online. I am pretty active online. So people just have questions in regards to what direction, the city council and mayor will be moving to. And hopefully there will be some sort of meeting where they'll have that opportunity to share their vision with the larger community. That is my hope, that there'll be some sort of workshop or just going around and just sharing their vision with those businesses. But at this moment, I don't know what that vision will look like in the future.
Okay. So since you mentioned online media, I looked at a post that came online, today, and just looking at it, it was a spokesman of the Idaho Team 2027. If you look at it, there was 6 concerns there. The one that kind of stood out to me was number 4. And it says Canyon County schools are dying. Can I read this to you?
Sure.
The latest math scores of 186 Idaho schools placed by Valley View in 119, Nampa 134, and Caldwell an embarrassing 158. Declining schools have a direct correlation to rapid growth. So you were here Friday and you listened to Mr. Paul Webster speak on behalf of the Caldwell School District, and he said there's room to grow inside that school district. And this is an economic development question. What are your thoughts on declining math scores in Caldwell School District with a direct correlation to rapid growth? How does that come up, and we still have plenty of room to grow inside that school district?
That's a good question that I don't have an answer to. I do live in Caldwell. My children do not attend any of the school districts that you've mentioned, so I can only speak from my perspective in terms of my children do attend schools here in the Caldwell city limits, and the school that they attend are performing really, really well. I think that's a good question. I think that's a good question for the district, and they'll I'm assuming we'll be able to pull those numbers. I unfortunately can't speak to those numbers.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for taking a stab at that, but thanks for all you do, and I see you out every day, every week. I run into you at least every other day, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Dave.
So, thank you.
Appreciate your comments.
Any other questions for Ophelia? Great, thank you. Brings us to our attorney reports. Mr. Hilty?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of these I think we've dealt with a little bit, so I'll be brief. On the central area status and next steps, of course, we had the workshop on Friday, and that the city council had continued that until Monday the 17th. So we'll take that up with them, and again, that step will be simply to receive the plan and then authorize it to go forward to P&Z if it gets a favorable vote. We are currently scheduling that. As you know, it's important because of the state of the feasibility study to get it done by the end of the year. So we're on track to do that. I think the current plan is to have it before the city council December 15th for final action on the ordinance that creates the new area. On RRC, thank you for approving that. We're getting about to the end of that project where they're going to be done anyway, but it makes me feel good to know that we got a schedule that comports with where we're at in reality. On the tax penalties and interest issue we've been monitoring, I did again email Mr. Wesley. I said we've got a meeting tonight. I emailed him last week. I said, is there any update that you can provide? He said that he would have something to me by the end of this week. So I don't have anything to report to you tonight, but hopefully the county's looking at it and we'll be able to get something to us so we'll know where we're at by the time we meet again. Moving on to phase 2, I know Dean stayed, and so I'm going to have him come up and kind of help me with this as necessary. There's a timing issue regarding the status of the extension for the Tillian and the coordination about perhaps a larger project there. This is not on your agenda for an action item. This is more of a situational awareness. Get this up on your radar. Dean was to be under construction here on phase 2 very shortly, I think by the 1st of the month. There was a continuation that the commission approved about a year ago, and really the reason for that was there was a hotel developer that was interested in a project that might encompass not just the phase 2 site, but the adjoining property. And so Dean was given a 1-year extension to negotiate with that developer and see if some kind of a joint venture, joint project could be put together. That discussion didn't go forward, I don't think, in substance during the course of the year, and the other developer was waiting to see what would happen with the central area, or would that property be in a new urban renewal area. And as you know, when we created the footprint for the central area, it did include those sites. My understanding from Dean is that the conversation really has not progressed in a substantive way over the course of the last year like we kind of hoped that it would. I think recently, as we get down to the wire on that central area, they begin to talk a little bit, and you can, I don't know how much Dean's at liberty to share any of that, but you can certainly ask him. From my perspective, what I see is because of what's required for Dean to begin a project, he's going to have to really start that shortly after the 1st of the year, if that 2026 deadline remains. If we want, as an agency, if you want for him to continue the discussion with the adjoining property owner, that might require another extension. Again, not asking for that tonight, it's not an action item, but I think we're going to have to kind of cross that bridge here in the next couple of months. And my take on it is whether you grant an extension is up to you. Whether Dean even wants an extension to continue that conversation is up to him. He could decide that he's comfortable with where he's at and proceed with a phase 2 project that is not, that doesn't combine with the adjoining property. That's his right under the DDA. And so what he has to say about it will be relevant, and obviously what you have to say about it will be relevant as well. But I just wanted to let you know that this is an issue we see coming. It's a decision point that likely is going to have to be crossed here in the next few weeks. And Dean's aware of it. We've talked to him. My understanding, Dean, and I'll look over my shoulder to make sure this is right, or, yeah, come up if you've got anything to say about sort of where you're at in conversations.
So, as I expressed before, our conversations with the hotel group would not start until the end of this year. They did not want to engage until they were further along in their current projects within Caldwell. We have re-engaged with them and started those conversations. They're unable to move forward with anything unless there's an understanding of where that hotel is going to land. Without knowing if that property is even available, we don't know if there's a larger project that could be had. So as of right now, we are in a stalemate location unless we proceed without the hotel plan, which we can do, and we're happy to move forward with. But as we've talked about for, I think, 5 years now in regards to wanting to bring a hotel into downtown, the opportunity is here, but we need understanding on the timing on when those other properties, those other parcels would be available to be in combination with phase 2 of the Tilling property.
Thank you, Dean. Question, Chris?
Yes, thank you. The hotel company was just approved to build a second hotel out in the north, or out of 2026 out there. Did they give you any indication that the fact that they're now into a second hotel would affect anything that might happen with you?
No.
No.
They did note that they are moving forward with the hotel there along with multifamily at that location. That would not impact this location.
Okay.
They also believe the bed count demand in this location with future planning is much higher than what you can get, say, from a STAR report or people from outside the area. They believe it's a 400 to 600 demand.
Yeah.
As of now.
Yeah.
And growing.
So, and question for either one of you, what is the existing timeline if nothing changes?
Yeah, December 1 of 2026, we would have to start construction.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll keep you posted on that, but wanted to at least get it up on your radar, like I say. Last thing I've got has to do with the fairgrounds and the sort of the scope of the agreement. And this came up a little bit on Friday. I'd had a brief conversation with Commissioner Doty following our last urban renewal meeting about the project, what we call the Fair Building Project. And most of you were here and heard sort of the history of that. Just I'll reiterate it briefly for those that are here or maybe listening online. The east area was extended, is originally to sunset in 2015, as I recall, and it was extended for several years. Part of that was debt service. There was some bonded debt at the time. There was obvious concern from other taxing districts because as that increment, as the values had grown, that increment was going to the Urban Renewal Agency, and once it sunsets, then it goes back to those taxing districts. And so there was conversations with those taxing districts where the representation was made that there were reasons why it was good to extend the area. There was recognition that it would impact those taxing districts because they wouldn't be able to levy on that increment. However, worked into the plan was specific language that the agency would track that money, which otherwise would have gone to those agencies, and then work with those agencies, of course, within the parameters of the urban renewal law, to develop projects that would be beneficial to those agencies. And so the two or three primary examples would be not just this fairgrounds project we're talking about, but the county administration building was largely built with urban renewal dollars. And then there were some improvements for the Caldwell School District. With respect to the FAIR agreement, what kind of prompts the discussion was Commissioner Doty's question about whether or not the proposed retaining wall fits within what had been approved at the time. And what I explained to him and sort of in furtherance of this attitude that was developed with this amended plan in 2014, that the project list was vague. What was important was sort of the number. There was money that the agency had represented to the county would be sort of available. They wanted to use it in connection with the fair building. There were, of course, limitations on what actually could be projects that it would be spent on. But the project descriptions themselves are relatively vague, and it was intended to be flexible and improve not just improvements associated directly with the fair building, the expo building, but also the area around it, specifically on a couple of line items, including Gaviola Fields. And so there is reference in the project to retaining walls and CMU block construction on or near Gaviola Field. The site where this is proposed to be, which is behind those businesses that front on Blaine, also was specifically mentioned as a potential project area. There were walking paths through there, both for pedestrians and equestrian paths. What I would say is that if the direct question is, was this project authorized in the agreement? The answer is probably it's a little bit vague, and there were probably reasons why it was done that way that date back to how that the agency was dealing with this extension and dealing with taxing districts that would be affected by an extension of reallocation. So, with that, I'll stand for questions. I think the project, the descriptions are certainly broad enough to encompass this retaining wall that Diana is pursuing with the city and the rodeo and college. But it is not a specific called-out project. And so happy to talk to you about, the impact of the agreement or that history or any questions that you might have. But it's a more complicated answer than just a yes or no.
Very good. Thank you, Mark. Questions for Mark on?
I'm sorry, Jim.
Excuse me.
One more thing.
Sure.
The other thing that we've talked about is, and with Ray Lynn, is the need to get that project closed out. And I did have a communication with Diana last week where I said, can I report to the commissioners that we will put a period at the end of this sentence at the end of the fiscal year? I said, I assume that you would like to do that too, and she gave me an unequivocal yes. So whatever we do, we'll be bringing it to a close at the end of this fiscal year.
Great, thank you. Chris?
Yeah, Mark, I share Commissioner Doty's concerns. I want to see that area improved out there. I want to see us maximize the use out there clearly. I don't want to step over any lines with urban renewal. Your answer didn't make me warm and fuzzy. Are we good? Or are we not good? Or
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could, the question is whether or not the project fits within sort of the broader descriptions in the funding agreement. It's clearly an appropriate expenditure of urban renewal funds under state law. That I'm not concerned about.
Okay.
The question is whether we wanted to look at that list of projects and say, this really isn't part of what we thought we were going to do. And then the county could say, I think rightly, that, well, wait a minute, we talked about improvements to Gaviola, we talked about retaining walls, we talked about CMU blocks and things like that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Are you fuzzier? Warmer? Mr. Moore?
Mr. Chairman, so yeah, I've got a little bit of the fogginess on this, but I think I follow you, Mark. Is there going to be a request for additional fundage? Is it going to be another ask? Have we been waiting for this, or what's the deal with that?
No, the agreement's clear that it's capped, and I think Diana's looking for what can fit within the remaining budget that's available, and there cannot be another ask. The funding that's left is potentially available on a reimbursement basis. And so that part of it is very clear, that there was a capped number of dollars.
How do you suggest that we bring this all around and bring it together and close it out? How are we going to get all these projects together and give it one good blessing and say it's a done deal? When does that happen?
I think the fairgrounds is moving forward. Diana has been for some time under the assumption that this was appropriate, and I think that's probably a fair reading, given the fact that we've got some vagueness. I think if there was concern among the commissioners about that, we need to jump out. We need to get that communicated right away and start to have a discussion with them. My sense of it is, and I think she's talked about some other projects out there, but and Jim or Ray Lynn, maybe you guys will remember, I'm pretty sure that what she has said is This project will take all of the rest of the available money. So if this project goes forward, it'll take whatever's available from urban renewal, and then if there's more that's required, that would be something that the county or the fair would have to pay for. Or the city, I guess, if they want to try to work it out with their partners, that's a possibility. But I think the quickest way to the finish line is if there's no significant problem with them pursuing this project, let's just get it done, get it paid for, and close this out.
Thank you, Mark.
Any other questions on this? Any other overall questions for Mark? Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, it brings us to our commissioner reports. Mr. Doty?
Nothing tonight.
Ms. Warwick?
Nope.
Mr. Brooks?
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Good to have you here.
Thanks.
Mr. Cole?
Not a thing.
Mr. Allgood?
Just quickly, I really appreciated the meeting on Friday. It was very helpful. I appreciate Mr. Moore pushing for that, because it did give us some answers, some things I hadn't even thought of. So anyway, it was a good meeting. I appreciate it happening.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Dave?
Mr. Chairman, I think the Caldwell Chamber put on a great meeting today with George Crookham and his company, and I think Councilman Allgood, you were there?
No,
I thought you were. I thought I saw you there. It was your alias.
My alias.
So it was very informative, and kind of the urban growth, and kind of reassured me what we're doing here inside the city, and eventually probably going up. I think it was very beneficial. So, and it was kind of the same one that he put on to City Council here a few months ago that I know you were at. So anyway, yeah, that's it.
Excellent. I have nothing except I'm ready for the lights to come on downtown. And I think it's going to be a wonderful year. So thanks, everybody. We are adjourned.